All right, so let's get into one of my favorite persuasion tactics of all time. It's simple, it's ethical, and it instantly makes people trust you far more. And it comes back from, you've seen probably Alex Hormozi talk about it, you've seen Eminem on 8 Mile, and it's that big, damaging admission that actually happens. And what we're aiming to be able to do is use your weaknesses to make your offer stronger. Here's the craziest part about it. When you actually use this properly, it'll make things far more believable. It'll actually make you seem far more human and 1,000 times, 2,000 times more persuasive without going to the old school double glazing salesman type pushy selling. And here's the biggest truth, and I want you guys to all get this into your head. People are not buying from logic, they're buying from trust. And actually, every time we open our mouth, we are either increasing or reducing resistance, or we are increasing and reducing flow. And trust, if you don't have it, it's like pushing treacle uphill. It makes it almost impossible. And that's where the pressure, that feeling that people get is all internal, and that's going to increase their resistance, reduce the flow, and it's going to completely mess it up. If people trust you, they'll look over most things. If they don't, no amount of logic, no amount of data, nothing else, because they're not going to believe you're going to get them the results. They're not going to believe what you're telling them is going to happen. Often they won't even believe that data, however compelling it can be. Now, if I say to you now, there's a box in front of you and inside there's a money printing machine, and it's going to print you £100,000 every single month. And you can see inside that box, and you can see it working, and you believed 100% that I told you, give me £10,000 and I'll give you the key, you're likely to go ahead, right? Because you believe it and you have trust that if I do the thing, I'm going to get the thing. But what about if that box was cloudy? What about if you couldn't see into it? What about if you just met me? What about if you thought other people had brought these keys and it didn't work for them? What's going to happen? You're not going to want to give over your money, right? And that's because that's what the belief unlocks. That's why, for you guys out there that are selling and you're using a load of referrals, the trust that this thing works, the trust that this guy does what he says, the trust is already pre-installed. And that's why you've got to get to this stage even before the call starts. So, how are we actually going to do this? How can you get the trust when you don't actually know the person? Here's what we need to admit. No one thinks that everything's going to be perfect. No one thinks that it's going to be the easiest, take a tablet and everything's going to be fine, even if that's what they really want. So, the hardest part is actually understanding this from the other side. And this is why, if we get to the simplest part, one T, not two. Two T's is very different. Now, everything you said after that word is going to amplify what we're getting. So what we want to do is everything before it softens it. So if you say, but, blah, 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 you've all probably had plenty of time in your life where you've been heard someone saying something, but, and it undoes a lot of that stuff, right? In the same way that can work on the negative to the positive. So we want to make sure, for example, if we have a conversation now and we go, you're going to make a lot of money working with me, but it's going to be a lot of work, what's going to happen? The work. Now, if I flip it and I say, listen, it's going to be a lot of work, but you're going to make more money than ever, what you're hearing is the after part. So we want to make sure that this is the thing that they're actually wanting and the positive actually sticks. Now, the words we're using are often going to act a bit like a spotlight. It's going to shine like my ring light here is, on exactly where we want it to go. And you have to make a decision. What are you shining the light on? And most people, they really don't know. Most people don't know where they're actually trying to shine that light. So we need to be at the stage of, whether that's in your copy, whether that's on your phone calls, in your videos, whether it's in your meetings, everywhere. I'll give you a hack. So our main program is called Conversations to Clients. It does what it says on the tin. It helps people get better conversations, and more of those conversations convert into clients. Now, I might say something along the lines of, listen, this isn't going to be an immediate quick fix. You're going to have to learn, you're going to have to implement, you're going to have to record, you're going to have to track, you're going to have to refine your process. But if you do, you're going to have a system that prints money for life. That one word makes the truth more believable. And that's the promise is more powerful, because I've also given you the result, but I've told you not everything's going to be easy and not everything's going to be perfect. And here's the key. The more honest, the more damaging admission, the more persuasive the outcome can be. Everyone is used to now having the show real life thrust into them. And we all don't believe it. So actually having some of that negative makes it easier to believe. Now, it doesn't mean it has to damage your life. It's humble, but it's bragging in a nice combination. For most people out there, I will say to people, for example, our program isn't cheap, and it's not actually for beginners. It's designed for business owners that have already gone through the struggle and they want to grow faster and sell smarter. Or you might have been like, hey, you might have tried other trainings that overpromised and underdelivered. But here's the one theory. It's built out of X, Y, and Z. So what we need to make sure is we understand and we own the objections that people are thinking and feeling and flip it into a power. Most people don't believe it's going to be super simple. Most people don't believe it's not going to come out with some headaches or hurdles. And if you're at the stage now that you're going to pretend everything's going to be perfect, that's going to be the big differentiator between you and other people that's out there. You've got to think about things in a normal type of way. If you're trying to get people to make a decision and they know not everything's going to be rosy, you've got to be able to explain to them what's going on. You're not manipulating, you're demonstrating the trustworthiness by saying, hey, I've got nothing here to hide. And that's instantly going to separate you from overpromising and with competitors. So here's what I want you guys to do. Next time you're recording that video, getting on a call or talking to a prospect, try leading with the truth. Most people will be expecting you to dodge, or even your competitors dodge. Use that proof as your integrity. And as you watch how much faster they believe in you, they trust from you, and they buy from you. Now, if you guys want to know a little bit more, you can go to conversationstoclients.com. I'll put it below. Have a look. There's a video there. That's what we've just said. And then you know where to find me. Go and have a great day, and I'll talk to you all soon.